Bree's YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to properly configure your network for your speed, your uploads, your downloads, and video streaming so that you have the best experience possible. And this equipment that I'm using is the Peplink equipment. I use Peplink switches, I use Peplink routers because they're one of the best ones in the industry. They're reliable and they don't drop and crash like other equipment can, unless you really screw up the cable routing, which is tough to do. So on your main connection, when you come in here, you want to have your download speed set here. Look, I got 50 meg, 1 gig. That's my speed. Your DNS services, these are optional. Otherwise, you can select this to auto. These are just the services I connect into. So once that's set properly, you want to come down to applications, and you might need to click this here so that this will show up. And you click down here and you hit add, and then you'll be able to get to add these in. Once you add these, high, normal for the quality. So supported streaming, high, normal for remote access, voice over IP, high, instant messenger, normal. Anything voice, VoIP, voice over IP, anything with voice over IP is going to put it as a high priority. So when it detects the voice traffic, it will automatically force it to high, even for instant messaging. Now down here is the cable optimization, which will do some further fine tuning to make your network stable. The best thing to do after that is to come down here to your firewall rules, come down all the way down to the bottom, and you want to select your intrusion protection and enable it, and your firewall, set this to block, and then you do your port forwarding and your firewall rules as you see in here that I've done. Once you do that, you do the same thing for services, which has your services in here. You want to do that as well. And same thing with your computers, you want this in here. Different models, say port forwarding, this says service and services. You want that done. Now, what you want to do is after that, when you come into here, this will let you get your different VLANs and stuff set up. So if I come down here to configure on my switch, because I don't want to show you any names or anything, you see I got different VLANs, and you add the new VLAN and you just add that in, and you add the IP address in. So the any VLANs on the main router over here will be correct. So you want to do that, and that will be done under network settings, the different VLAN creations. And then Peplink has a system that you can actually select on in control to match any VLANs that you create here under network settings. It will automatically show up here if you configure this correctly, so that you don't have to do this per switch or per router. You can set it up per group, meaning that you can set, oh, this is my network, and you set all your settings up, and everything will get pushed down to the equipment correctly. Now under configure, under the ports, switch ports, you want to have this RSTP disabled, because if you don't, you will cause a network outage under depending on what network port types you're using, what you got connected. So that's why. But your main port that you connect to your switch can be any one of these numbers. I use port 1 just to make it easier. Port 1, you want a trunk that is connected to your main router. A trunk will say all VLAN networks. Default VLAN is your main one. And then down here, there's a setting that says default VLANs, all, and your default VLAN. When you come down to network settings, down here, and see what it says default VLAN. Default VLAN, this will be your default VLAN for the trunk, which is what you want to set. So VLAN 1 or untagged, meaning the main port. That's what you want to select. So point router on their side, this will say untagged, and this will be default. On the point switch, it's always VLAN 1 that's untagged, and that's why you select this as default. So once that's done, you got your stuff correctly set up. Now, the nice thing about the pipeline router is you see this combo network. I can combine the speeds of my particular networks for dual speeds, meaning dual services. That I can use those dual speeds and make it one speed. So if I had the same service twice, like if I had a cable modem that had 2 ports that were 2 Ethernet ports, I can go into my main router here under Outbound Policy, which would be your outbound traffic rules that you want to set up for outbound. You can go under there and select the different computers, different networks to be your outbound. It's a combination, or you can split the bandwidth. That's what that does. But that's an advanced tutorial. That's not for here right now. That's just some of the features that I like, because you can combine speeds. You can do some really neat stuff with this equipment. Now back to here, when you come under QoS, you want to make sure you save all your changes. So you hit save and hit apply, and this apply button will gray out once it's applied. Now the main thing that you want to know is that if you have the pipeline access points, that's what this AP is. So you can set up the AP, the access points. Now these are some of the additional features that you can use. High availability. If you don't have more than one router, you don't want to use that. But now the firewall, what that does, the access rule is actually your firewall itself. The content blocking, you can set different services and block different stuff. I don't do that here because I got more control at my DNS level. I can do that with. So I did. Now, under your WAN, like I said, these can be combined. And you will also make your WAN quality audio, your quality auto for your WAN quality, so that you don't drop the connections and switch back and forth too much. Reason I set the way that I set these is, these are actually what give me the best YouTube streaming and the best downloads and the best uploads. You want to make sure you have everything set correctly. If you don't, you will have a hard time dealing with any of your services. Now for DSL, when you come under WAN and you click on your main connection, DSL users or fiber connections will be on PPOE, point-to-point over Ethernet. That's what that stands for. And they'll have a username and password, but for cable you want DHCP. But once you're done, you apply the changes. You do the same thing with the switch. Now, the best thing to do is when you come back to your switch, you'll see what you have connected. So you'll see all your different ports are green that are turned on. This switch is a 24 port, which does power over Ethernet, meaning I can power a telephone or access point. But that video may come down the road. But for now, this is Byrd 203 signing off of YouTube for now. Enjoy the video. please go back and watch this as many times as you want. In video part 1, I do have all the links to this equipment down in the description. I'm not going to put it in part 2 because part 2 is just the continuation of part 1. So part 1 will have all the links down in the description. This is Byrd signing off. Enjoy the video and have a pleasant day and happy streaming and happy downloading. Goodbye.